Welcome to the group chat with Tara Thomas and Amanda Goodman of Faith and Four-Letter Words.
Happy Friday. We are limping to the weekend. We've had a crazy week with the weather and the soccer and baseball. And congratulations to your daughter's team going to state.
Yeah, they go 4 for 4. Hudson punched their ticket to state last night. They had a big win, 3-0. And I give girls a lot of credit because as I'm sitting in the back of my car, I mean, it was just a torrential downpour.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And we had 2 lightning delays. Lightning delays are 30 minutes each. So it was an hour. So a lot of sitting around. We did laugh, though, because they gave us lightning delays. And then, but we can hear like the ting of the bats. There were like youth baseball and softball games continuing to go on. I'm like, does anybody want to tell the kids that we shouldn't be holding metal bats when there's a lightning delay? So yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really proud of her. 4 for 4. It's hard to go to state one year.
Yeah, that's
go
such
every
an
year.
accomplishment. And it's really exciting because her school year is over, but then the soccer season continues.
Yeah, so she's just focusing on that. And it was just, I was emotional last night because it was the last time for her on our home field.
Sure.
And so I'm like, I looked at my friend, I'm like, this is the last time on this field. And so we're starting to cry before the game even started. And Hector was like, we need to focus. We need to focus. But it was a good time. And the whole family was all together. And, Nico was also there because the boys are done. So he was out watching the game with us and watching him get excited when they won as well. That was fun. That was fun.
On another note, if you've been following the news, there is another Eastern Iowa student, this one in Cedar Falls, who's been arrested for generating AI images that would be considered sexually inappropriate. And so I saw that and it reminded me that is an important conversation that every mom or grandma needs to have with their children is you can use AI, but not use it for harm because there's a lot of temptation for these kids to generate these images. And so what we know from the case that you covered, it's so damaging because the images look so real that if a child is depicted in an AI image where there's nudity or it's of an inappropriate nature, it can be very much the same as if it were a real image. And so that's the level of shame and embarrassment and humiliation that comes with that. So it's just really important that we have these conversations so that kids understand there are adult consequences for misusing artificial intelligence in this way. And I think what people forget, this is easily embedded, these AI layers of software support into existing platforms. So I think there are people who picture like a kid seeking out and going on the internet and finding some obscure site. No, Snapchat, AI embedded Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, AI is already immersed in all of these platforms. And so you can already leverage AI, not seeking out another site, but actually using the tools that are already attached to the platform that you're comfortable with. And I think that's something people don't understand. I mean, there's images being generated right now that kids are inadvertently doing because it's popping up and prompting them to do it when they're already on those very familiar sites.
And here's the thing. And I think when, you just mentioned it, I was actually working on this story right now. The biggest thing is, people hear AI image. This is not like clip art. So you have to understand it is very hard. When there was the case in Cascade, Iowa, there were several girls who had to convince their parents that those images really weren't them because it looked like, imagine your parents seeing a picture of you, in a compromising, scenario. And these images, they look very, very real. It's
scary.
It is scary
because it's hard at first glance. Like you said, with some of the people in Cascade, they didn't believe that it was fake,
right?
The adults, because it looked that genuine.
So it's not like clip art. It's not like, cartoonish type of things. It's these AI images are very, very real. So, kudos to the local police departments now that are really cracking down. And that's the message. It's,
and it's hard, isn't it? Because how do you choose to prosecute something where it's like the wild, wild west out there, right? So we think
Mhm.
about some of the egregious acts that are being committed in person right now. All of these, as you've seen, all of these sort of trapping scenarios are playing out oftentimes through social media. In the case
Right.
of somebody who's trying to groom another person, somebody who's arranging to meet another person. I mean, it's all being done really more times than not, I think, today through digital engagement. And I think that's something that even 3, 4 years ago, we never could have anticipated how widespread the grooming and the inappropriate fishing would
Oh,
become.
we had no idea.
Because you always like to think that your child knows better, but they're kids. And so I just think even adults, right, fall for this, where you might get a message from somebody and it could be somebody that seems very normal because they create fake profiles. They use photos that
Mhm.
make them look like they're just another high school schooler from,
Right.
from the state. And so, I mean, one of my good friend's nephews had fallen into a very tough situation where he fell for a girl messaging him and thought that this was a genuine potential love interest.
Oh my gosh, it makes me so sad. It's like all these people that you find on these that are being fit like from other countries and they're sending money. It's like, the like the elderly love scams, all this, and they're sending money.
Mhm.
I mean, what was that? I mean, like one woman thought that she was giving money to Brad Pitt. She was talking to Brad Pitt on the phone, and she saw pictures of him.
They had created very real, believable images because you can, as we were just explaining with artificial intelligence, take anybody, celebrity or not, and create an image.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and it's very scary because when you're young and also as you get older, you're much more susceptible to being duped. I mean,
Right.
as we've seen, with these scams. So if it's coming through a message portal on your phone, like Facebook, buyer beware is definitely what you need
Oh my
to,
gosh.
approach these
If you
things
don't
with.
know this person, if you've never met this person, if you've never had a conversation with them face to face and you don't have their phone number, if you haven't seen them, do not talk to them. That you are being scammed. I'm not going to even say.
Well, and now they've got with the voice copying or the voice AI element, you might get a call from somebody who you think or who claims to be your grandchild because that person's voice has been manipulated to sound real. So there was a horrible situation where a woman gave somebody a bunch of money because she thought that it was her granddaughter who needed help and had been arrested or, was calling from jail. So, I mean, it sounds crazy. But as a grandparent in that moment, of course, if it's the person's voice, it sounds very credible.
My brother was just in town a couple weeks ago, and we were just talking about that. That happened to our family, my grandmother, when she was alive. So this was years ago. So this is before the technology was really, and it was a phone call, and he was like, "Grandma," and so she just went, "Matthew?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's Matthew." He was waiting for her to say, and he had said that he had been arrested, and he was waiting. He needed money to be Western Union, and I don't know. For some reason, my uncle happened to be at the house, and my uncle was like, "They don't Western Union. You don't Western Union money to a police station, Mom." Like, you know what I mean? My uncle was a judge at the time, and he's like, "You don't Western Union money to the police station."
That's good that he was
so
there.
Thank God. And my grandmother, and that's the thing. And here's the thing: we always assume that it's people who are not intelligent or like can fall easily to scams or like naive. My grandmother was also highly like, this is happening.
Mhm.
Think about all of like, if you have baby boomer parents right now and there's commercials and reels and they kind of poke fun, like falling for scams. It's not that they're intelligent, and just these scam artists are just that good.
Yeah.
They're these master manipulators. So let's not.
Well, and when you hear the voice of a loved one, it suspends your judgment entirely in the way, the same way it would if it were someone you didn't know. All of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, that is my grandchild. And then you have to process like, what if this is real? Because then you're fearful that if it is real and you don't help them, then you would feel even more horrible about it. So if you have any messages coming to you and then you think, well, I don't, or also text messages, that's a big one where scammers text you and they say, hey, are we still meeting for dinner? This just happened to me like last week. And then you text back and you're like, sorry, I don't recognize this number. And then they make up something to continue the conversation. So you don't just have to ignore, you can even block these numbers because sometimes they just come back with a different number and they use local area codes.
Oh, the local area codes. They're so
Isn't that
slick with
crazy?
it.
How it's like somebody could be
know.
calling from Nigeria with a 319
I
phone
know.
number.
I don't. But like, here's the thing. Like, if you're trying to call me, you're gonna be waiting a long time. I do not answer the phone. I think I only answer the phone for when you call me.
Oh, that's nice. I appreciate.
I do.
I appreciate.
I do.
being-
Like, I know. Like, Tara and I talk to each other probably like 5, 6, 7.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
yeah.
or a dozen times
Yeah,
a
for
day because
sure.
it has to happen. But I did have to tell you, I got called up. I got called up to the bigs. I got caught up to federal jury duty, folks. Federal jury duty. I report in a week.
Oh my gosh.
Right. And I try. Okay. So I tried to get out of it.
The big leagues.
This is the bigs, right? I try to get out of it. I emailed, the jury administrator. This jury administrator emailed me back within, like, I'm not even exaggerating, like 2 minutes
to say we still need you to
say that this is your constitutional right.
Because
and
everyone's trying to get out.
Everyone's trying to get out. I was like, okay, you're right. So, I mean, like, I have to travel. It's in Cedar Rapids. So it's, it's a haul.
Do they give you mileage?
They give you mileage, which is like
How much?
72 cents a
Okay,
mile. It's a
okay.
lot. That's a lot of, that's a lot. And they give you $50 a day. Thankfully, like my employer also, which most employers will let you go. And so I'm still paid for that. So I'm telling you though, they're going to take one look at me.
I think
You're excused.
I think when you say, I'm Amanda Goodman,
I'm
and then
Amanda.
they'll be like, she's out of here.
Yeah.
Get her out of here.
And so I have to tell you something too. And
Drag her
I
out
don't
of
know
here.
if you do this. Okay. So when we were on television and but people will recognize us and people, or people will look at us and they'll back years ago when people were like, I know you from somewhere. And then it's very uncomfortable for me because I don't want to be like, well, so I would say, I don't know. And we would do that dance. We're like, where do I know you from? So now it's kind of, so someone the other day she's like, I know you from somewhere and I can't pinpoint it. And I said, my last name's Goodman. And so I just was doing it and she's like, that's right. But I get real. Do you do that with people now? Do people say,
my
like,
biggest thing, it still happens, is I get called Amanda. So a
Oh,
person came up to me
sorry.
at church. No, it's fine. I don't mind being called you, but they came up to me at church and they were like, Amanda, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, I'm Tara, but blah, blah, and she goes, oh yeah, yeah. So it is funny. And I get it. My dad for years would call me Sarah and my sister Tara, and then called the grandchildren our names.
Oh, for sure.
It makes sense in their brains. They just associate you with
We're like
me.
Bert and Ernie.
Yeah. So
We're
they're
Bert and
just
Ernie.
like, is it Amanda or is it Tara? So
Yeah.
they kind of just default, which we don't mind at all. And
No.
it's not offending me. And it's
No.
just funny because then sometimes, which is also not a bad thing, but people will come up to me because they want to tell me something about a child
Yeah.
advocate situation. And so then I have to say, okay, the person you want to talk to is Amanda. And so then the other thing that always happens is if they don't get a hold of you, then they come to me and they say, I'm trying to get a hold of Amanda. And so sometimes I just have to be honest and say, you know what, there's a lot of people trying to get a hold of her. She may not be able to get back to you right away because in addition to doing all of this sort of free advocacy, you've got a full-time job and 4 children.
Right.
And so sometimes we just have to be moms and wives and all the things that we're called to do.
Well, listen, I knew it was going to happen. So, how things get twisted about people will, I saw her at this game and she was out of pocket. Listen, I want to tell you something. I am well aware that anywhere I go, I am constantly being watched. It's kind of like if you send me a message and someone says, she was so rude to me. Not true. Because I know everything that I write is going to be screenshot.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be screenshot. So, and like last night, I'm sitting in the back of my vehicle again, watching the soccer game, which I am most times because that's how I control my mouth, sitting in my vehicle. And a woman from the other team was walking by and she looks in the car and I just smile and I have a hat on and I have sunglasses on, which does not make me invisible, which I always think it's like a disguise. It's not. And the woman was so kind. She looks in and she's like, thank you for everything you do.
Oh,
It was
that's really
it was
nice.
so
Now, what
nice.
school was this you were playing?
We were playing Vinton Schellsburg.
Okay.
Great group of fans. They were so kind.
That's one town we've been to Vinton,
Yes.
but I think someone wanted us to come to Schellsburg. So if anyone watching knows a place, a space, a venue where we could come in Schellsburg, we would
Vinton was very, yeah.
we'd be interested.
And they were very, very nice. But it was like, it was the other reminders. It was the other nudge from God. Remember, watch yourself, right? Like it was.
Hold your tongue.
It was hold your tongue. And I mean, like, I'm still angry about, I wish East Coast Mandy would have come out on Tuesday, truth be told. I really do. I'm really like angry with myself.
I'm proud of you that you restrained yourself. Because,
Thank you. I know.
Because in that moment, in the end, your team advanced.
Mm-hmm.
And then you guys went on to state. And so that was just a blip on the radar.
It was, I think, you know what it is? Here it is. And I don't know if anybody else feels like this way. So it's like when we take the high road and we just kind of, but for me, it's the audacity. I don't like, you think that you can talk to me like that? Like, right. So for me, I'm like, you got comfortable talking to me like that. And now I'm like eating that. I had to eat it. And so now like days later, I'm like, I'm having, you know, like I was still talking about last night at the dinner table and Hector looked at me. He's like, oh my God.
Let it go.
Yeah. Like be Elsa.
Yeah.
Let it go. I'm like, I can't. Like, who's this guy with the bad haircut trying to yell at me?
Like a bad haircut.
Oh.
Carla Summerhays, thanks for commenting. That happened to my mother. She got a call from someone that said they were my nephew. I was on scam mode and I knew it wasn't my nephew. I hate that this S is going on. That was, again, a good, wonderful
opportunity. Did she say S or you said S?
I said S. She said S.
Good job.
So I'm glad you were there to, you know, head off the scam before it became like an irreversible situation. Because once you transfer that money, it's all downhill from there.
You can't.
So we need to read Jane Patterson's comment. I've had the grandson call several times. I'll ask them which grandson. That really throws them because at the time my two grandsons were under 10 years old. So I knew they weren't in jail. So
that's scary.
If that's two people watching today, I mean, that just tells you how
scams are rampant.
Yeah, it really is. Now, my mom, I've talked about this, had a situation where she mailed a check into her bank because her bank was the recipient of the credit card bill. It was like a credit card bill through a local bank. And so one would think, you know, when it's being mailed locally within your town that it would be safer, but no, someone got the check out of the envelope and was able to fabricate my mom writing the check to a woman.
It's crazy.
Excuse me, we had never heard of. It was over $5,000.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Thankfully, the bank flagged it and spared the money from being, you know, taken out of the account before she could get it back. But I mean, as a child, like I was upset because then I called the bank to try to advocate for my mom, and then the woman that happened to answer, she was kind of rude, I thought, about the situation. And then I had to stop her and I said, you guys contacted us. You reached out to my mom. So this isn't us claiming we think this is something that happened. It's a scam that was triggered by your bank investigators. So the good news is even small towns, the banks are being trained to have a keen awareness of these scams. But the thing that I started thinking about, and this is a good reminder, during this graduation season, be careful if you mail large amounts of cash or checks through the mail, because a lot of the kids may not receive them if someone intercepts the envelope.
And if you think about it,
Isn't that crazy?
If you think about, we've talked about this, like the fact that we still write checks, and I still write checks.
There's a kid that didn't know how to cash a check that I talked to. Someone told me that there was a kid who in the last few months was sent a check for his graduation. He didn't know how to cash it. And so he like sat on it for months. And then I was laughing because again, at some point you're probably like, why hasn't that check cleared?
Why check? Well,
because they don't know.
My daughter knows. My daughter, we wrote her, we gave her money for her birthday, and then we gave her money for graduation. Homegirl.
So she transferred it to Ulta.
She was like this. I look over and she's already like taking the picture of the check. I was like, oh, you know how to deposit a check. I'm glad and that thing came out like that day, like
that moment within seconds of your pin leaving the check.
But if you think about it though, we're sending our check and we're sending our faces are very white. Do you see
I know.
Like,
I
there's
was
such
going
a
to ask
glow.
you, like, why is it
I think it's
so-
because this is supposed to.
No.
That's a little better. I don't know. Anyway, we would look like Casper this morning. But
We do look very pale.
it's very weird. I'm trying to figure it out, but okay, there. But we have our account number and you have the routing number and you have your account number. It's on the check.
Maybe if I tilt this down a little bit. Well, yeah, that and all of our personal information. No, that's still all of our personal information is on there. Like you said, that's the other thing that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about here, maybe if I pull this toward us, when you think about all the information that's easily accessed on the internet too.
Yeah.
You know?
I know. I know.
That looks good, even though we're still kind of pale, but I like the tighter shot. Okay, so Carol Hahn said, good morning. I had to do federal court twice, and other than having to drive to Cedar Rapids, I really enjoyed it. And I actually made more money than I would have at my job. So that's kind of a bonus.
I mean, I'm looking forward to it. Like, give me something good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I looked at Hector the other day. I was like, let me get like a mafia case. And he's like, in Cedar Rapids.
Oh my gosh.
He's like,
Hey,
calm down.
this is kind of a cool term. Angie Van Cleve Kinsey, check whitewashing. Why can't crooks use their skills for good? So thank you for enlightening us. It's called check whitewashing, which I had not heard that term. So, I mean, that's the crazy thing is when you looked at this check that I saw with my own two eyes, because it was a printed check, it looked like my mom had written the check, but there was some discrepancy on her signature. And that is something that caught the investigator's eye. So that was kind of cool that they caught that. They recognized that the signature didn't look authentic.
Well, you know, and here's the thing. That scares me because my husband's been in banking forever and he's still in banking. There's not a lot of, I mean, we're doing away with so many things, right? So we still need those banks with the people who have the relationships. I mean, I think my parents still have the same banker. I mean, they've been to how many retirement parties for all of their bankers, and it was like devastating for them because that's who's handling their money.
Right.
People want that specific person. So hopefully, you know, the local banks are still doing that. Hector always he's a good little banker, you know. He's a good little banker. I watched my husband cry last night. Again, he gets teary-eyed. And so
from Gia winning.
And also I have to tell you, like, he can't smile on command. So I know you never watched Friends, which is crazy to me. But if you ever saw that episode, for all my Friends watchers out there, remember when Chandler and Monica were taking their engagement photos and Chandler's smile was like he couldn't smile. And so last night, Gia even said to me, she's like, I think we found Dad's smile. And it's every time he's standing with her at the end.
That's sweet.
It's sweet. And I'm like, I go, why can't you smile like
and
this?
now you have Nico in high school soccer, but you have to wait, 3 years before Lucci is in high school.
Yeah. Yes. And she will be the one. She'll be our.
So
she'll be our red
time
card.
to re-energize yourself.
I'm tired. I've been drained. I've been really drained.
I can't believe it. And then how old is Aria?
I've got a long time. 8.
So you have 10 more years.
So isn't that crazy? Like sorry, I didn't mean to hit you. I'm sending our oldest to college, and then my youngest is still in 3rd grade.
And it's nice because by spreading out the kids, then you get to have more focus on each kid through the different stages.
It is great. And here's, you know, and it's funny because my sister and my brother were like 10 years apart. So Gia and Aria are 9 years apart. And it's literally like I spent the decade of my 30s having children. They were bookends. I had my first at 30. I mean, almost 31, and my last at 40. Mm-hmm. So that entire decade. And it's great, but it's so fun because I think about in my 20s, I was finding myself and I was being irresponsible and narcissistic and selfish. And I was a party girl and I was and then it was like, then I got married and I spent the 30s, I was having my kids and family. And then 40s, it was kind of then finding who I was as a mature woman. Mm-hmm. And so I love it. And the closer I get to
what's going to happen in your 50s, you're going to be the
laid back man,
the oldest mom
I am
on the field, but that's not a bad thing. I'm always the older mom too. And the thing about that is then like she and I talk about, you've evolved and been through, this isn't your first rodeo. So you have a level of calm and maybe more, you have appreciation, but then also recognition that this isn't as good as it gets. And so it's not the end all be all
There is
with sports.
I'm so much more chill in the silence from my
Right.
younger two. And the other thing is I thought of you because there is a little disagreement with, I think, with Aria and one of her little friends, and the mom had reached out. We really need to get it together. And I was just kind of like, they'll figure it out.
Yeah. Which is what happened with me. Right.
Yeah.
In
You
in
just get
Charlotte,
like,
in middle school, when she and these girls that were very close were not getting along, one of the moms had texted us, and she was very involved and invested and had read messages and all the things. And at that point, we recognize that maybe they're not going to be friends all the way through adulthood, and they're not going to always be close. And so I just said, I hope they can work it out. And they didn't. They didn't work it out.
It's just we have to step back and stop trying to control
because
everything.
that doesn't mean that your kid is going to be friendless, but also it's knowing that your kid is having the first taste of real life, which is you have messy elements to relationships.
Oh, yeah.
It's never going to be,
and everything
roses.
is seasonal, right? So I had somebody who I was friends with since like birth. I mean, and we did everything together, and we lived near each other. I mean, we did everything together. And then you see, like, looking back, I saw pockets of things where it wasn't all.
But you don't want to admit it if you still at that point are holding on to the comfort of not wanting that person to not be in your life.
Yeah. I mean, I think
That's
it was,
a tough one,
I think it was like after college, and when, I was very much like, right as I went from college, I wasn't working yet. And so I was going out, and I was going to like Atlantic City at 3:00 in the morning, because why wouldn't I? I was 22 years old. Like, I just graduated college, or before I graduated, I was like 21, and she was very focused on her career, which is amazing. Like, great at like 22, phenomenal. But I had a different style of life. And she was just saying, well, you need to be doing this because I'm doing, and I'm like, nah. Like, I'm going to be like, nah. Like, I was literally walking out of Atlantic City. I will never forget this. I went in. Okay, so Atlantic City, it's like Vegas, right? It's open all night. And so I remember we would close the bars down, and then we would drive into AC, right?
Sure.
And so I will never forget. I mean, I would think I'm intoxicated and sober 3 different times in the same evening, right? And I remember walking out on a Sunday morning, and then it was like you could hear the seagulls. And I was like this. I was like, oh, it's bright out here. And I called my dad from, I think I called my dad from a payphone actually on the boardwalk in Atlantic City. And I said to my dad, I go, I'm not going to make it to breakfast this morning, because they had brunch every Sunday after church. He's like, all right, what's going on? I'm like, I'm in Atlantic City. He's like, your lifestyle is starting to concern me. And I'm like, well, it's not concerning me. Greg. But here's the thing. I did so like that kind of that. I did that over and over in my 20s. Over and over. So that's why I'm a homebody now.
Well, speaking of post-college or college return to the homeland, has anyone seen on Netflix? It's very immature, these kids, but Calabasas Confidential is this new reality show. Now, this is the part that you have to know that you'll find interesting. Among the children on this that are featured in this reality show, and they're, by the way, coming back after their like first year or two of college. So it's very interesting, because what she just described is happening, where they're coming back and then they're reconnecting with all of their high school classmates who they haven't seen. And then everyone is talking about, well, who's doing what? Well, one girl is the daughter of Bret Michaels. Oh, yes, which is so interesting. Her name is Rain. And then another kid on there, I think his name is Hersey. He's the son of Master P.
Oh, I saw.
And what's interesting is Master P has raised him to be somebody who it doesn't have everything handed to him. And so he said,
in Calabasas, though.
Yeah, but he said, I have to work to eat. So I thought that was kind of an interesting.
Master P.
Yeah, I was like, so this one family, they claimed that they're the OGs of Calabasas, and they said they were there long before the Kardashians.
Okay. Who cares? Okay. Okay. Nobody cares.
So it's exactly what you said, though. It's them coming back, and they want to impress their friends because they're still in those early days post high school where you care, right? So that's
I did turn it on. I think I lasted for possibly 6 minutes.
Well, and then I'm kind of into it now, because there's there's some beef over some of the kids, and they're trying,
Of course.
they create early on the storylines, the drama that kind of gets you hooked. But the point is,
I hate
and she
that.
and I need to, clarify this. We're not watching this because we think it's like impactful television. We're watching this
It's because
we have stressful elements of our lives, and so we just need an escape where you're just like completely void of feeling and thinking. You're just watching these people.
I want to
and
be
you're
a
like,
potato. Like when I want to be a potato.
And let's be real, I just can't get into Real Housewives of Rhode Island, and so so there's.
Is it because they're all brunette? Is it because
they remind me too much of Real Housewives of New Jersey, and I don't relate to those women because their culture and everything about their lives is so different. Somehow I relate to Real Housewives of Beverly
Hills. Oh, Rhode Island. See, Rhode Island is where Rhode Island and Jersey is what I relate to. And it's not their lifestyle.
You grew up there.
When the one girl, she was like, I just love a cracker.
And they look
cracker.
See, and I think that I think their plastic surgery and I think everything about them looks fake. And I think some of the West Coast women have now early on, I think a lot of them look fake, but I think they've evolved to where now they look more natural, not natural, but the work is better. No, not Orange County, Beverly Hills. Like, I think they look better.
Well, because they have millions of dollars.
Right, they have the best, like we say, you're not ugly. You're poor.
I think, this is what I think.
Like, what's her name? Dolores. She's so fake.
Well, this is what it is. This is my take. Rhode Island and Jersey. It's because the majority of them are Italian, and Italian, like everything is bigger.
Oh, that makes sense.
I mean, like we like big hair. We're very loud. It's like the nails. Like I when I'm watching Rhode Island, I'm just like, I'm watching my people.
Your people. Yeah.
And like I'm watching, because it's so funny. Like they will I laugh because when I watch, like they will go from 0 to 60 in like a second flat, and I'm like, it's DNA. Like it's literally, it's an ancestral thing, right? Where it's the Italian Sicilian thing. So I do enjoy, but I laugh because literally there are no blondes on that show. Like it cracks me up. It's like there is not, and it's like I was showing my girls though, because sometimes my oldest, one time she had blonde highlights, it didn't go well, and I'm like, you're supposed to be a brunette, and there's nothing wrong with being a brunette. So I called my girls and I'm like, look at all these brunettes here. And they're like, okay, mom. I'm like, but see, like, look, like it's brown is beautiful. Like brown hair.
That's right. That is true. And that is very unique. You're right. For those Housewives franchises, there's usually always a bleach blonde in the mix.
Right. Because and I loved, like, I mean, you're a natural blonde. You look great blonde. And I used to I had to be blonde for television. I look back, like when Tara sent me a video, and we have to put this on here. It was a video of when I first moved to Iowa, and she was having a neighborhood party, and it was like on this old school camcorder. And I am so blonde. Like I can't even it's like white. It was, and I would have it was, I didn't like my hair pulled red. So they put a lot of, I like being white blonde, like a platinum.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and this, I can't even believe it.
It didn't look bad though, but I understand what you're saying. So here's a tip that's kind of interesting. If you right now are a mother or a grandmother who has a child who's a blonde, in my case, what my stylist did that I thought was kind of brilliant is when my daughter's hair was at its peak sort of blonde stage, and hers got darker like mine when she got older, but the stylist then matched the tone of hers to mine. Because if that's your genetic offspring, that's the true blonde that would look best with your skin tone. So it was, I thought, very, very perceptive. Yeah. Because she said, you need to have like the Charlotte blonde. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Because that's my blonde that she was genetically, given.
Okay.
So that's why you and Gia could have like similar hair color, and
we have very similar hair color. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm so thankful. It's when I sat down Whitney Boyke at Pura Vida in Cedar Falls. I came in and my hair was a mess at one point. And she looked at me and she was just like, what are we doing? What are you doing? Like, and so I sat there and I'm like, because because you have to understand, anybody who does hair, they are artists and scientists.
Absolutely.
Like everything that they have to do with all those, they are scientists. And I sat down in the chair and I'm like, she's like, do you trust me? And I said, yeah. She's like, okay. She's like, you need to be a brunette. We're taking you brown. Like, I'm like, okay. And I'm so thankful.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, it looks good.
I love it because I'm literally back to like my roots. Like it goes with my nose. It goes
And
with my
if
big
you
lips.
have hair like mine where you want the highlights to be very blonde, you have to be really careful. You do have to have a skilled stylist because to pull this blonde like this, it can go sideways quickly. You see,
Do you mean like
people's-
your hair falling out, like mine fell out?
or it gets brassy or it gets red almost. Like you said, those hues that come out, and sometimes orange. I mean, almost an orangey color. So
And you have to be careful in
Tina,
chlorine.
yeah, oh yeah. So Tina, my stylist, thankfully, she moved to Cedar Rapids, but she still comes up and works in Waterloo multiple times a week. And so I'm like, I'd probably have to drive to Cedar Rapids.
Yeah, because you can't once you have a good hair person.
Once you find
The
somebody.
only thing I miss about having blonde hair is that the gray, you couldn't see the gray. I didn't realize how gray I am until I went to art. And so now it's like, and like, you know, my friend is always like, oh, well, they're just it's gray. It's not sparkly.
Well,
and I don't want to be gray and I don't want to have long gray hair because I will look like a witch.
And I laugh because I've said this before, like how you genetically, take after one parent or the other. So my sister is like my mom, where they both have grayed earlier in life. I'm more like my dad, where he was not graying until he was much, much older. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, well, I won't have gray hair, but I'll probably get dementia.
Oh God.
That's what's so bad.
Oh my God.
Because I totally take after my dad. So, I mean, already my sister and I, when we have those moments where we're like, we can't remember a name or we just have brain fog, and then we're like, yeah, we're like dad.
Oh,
it's so sad.
I think so. I was watching a bunch of reels because I have hit that stage where I will walk into a room and I forget why I'm there.
Oh,
and it is definitely for perimenopause.
Does that, I think.
Yeah. And I do that.
It's really common.
And I will look at my husband. I'm like, why did I come in here? And he's like, I don't know. And then I get mad at him. I'm like, no, I came in here for something. What did I come in here for? He's like, I don't know. I'm taking it out on everyone else in the room. Like they're supposed to know why I came in the room. And I looked at him. I said to him, I said, you know what? I said, we were talking about something and I was talking about allergies. And a friend of mine at work was like, you know why it's so bad? It's because they're only planting male trees and the male trees are releasing all the pollen. And I go,
that is so interesting.
And I said,
it makes sense.
So it's male trees. So now here we go again. Everything else in my life has the word men in it. Perimenopause, menstrual cramps, menstrual cycle. And now you're telling me that my allergies that give me the worst migraines is because of the male trees. Of course it is. Oh my gosh. Okay. And so he was eating. And so he's eating and I'm looking at him. I'm like, you can eat knowing that this is all. And he was like, he looks at me. He's like, you're blaming me for the trees. You're blaming me for the male. Yeah. Yeah. The male pollen.
I just was looking at comments. Our friend Liz Ackerson, the OG of med spas with Splendore in Cedar Falls, she said, OMG, Tara. I wonder what she was saying OMG to. Oh, me getting dementia. Like probably. Yeah. Like I won't have gray hair, but I won't remember anything. Okay. So Liz, speaking of, what is the 4-step facial that I got from her or process? What was that called?
Did you get the hydrofacial?
No, not remember. It was the
liquid facelift.
Yes, thank you. The liquid facelift. So thank you to Splendore. I have had so many nice comments from people saying, "Oh, your skin looks great," and so I wanted to give credit where credit's due. So Liz and her team at Splendore in Cedar Falls have PRX. Thank you. They have a lot of great options so that you can have very non-invasive. Non-invasive, touch-ups.
I will tell you, I had just had somebody come up to me the other day and say, you look like you're getting younger. Well, thank you. So nice. I'm telling you, Sculptra, it's the fountain of youth. And let me tell you why it's so awesome. And I'm going to tell you in the most layman's terms, because that's how I know I'm not a medical person. So she will, at Splendore, they inject it like your own collagen. So you're stimulating your own collagen. So all it's literally doing, there's no filler in there. Cause I never want to look like a cat. Cause you see people, they start looking like cats and their faces pancake faces, right?
It's really flat.
I want to be me. Like, I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I like me. And so it's literally, all it does is stimulates the collagen. So it lifts everything up and just makes you from several years ago. So it's literally just, that's all it is.
And that's what we've
amazing.
always said is like, you know, and you guys have seen this when you see like Jim Carrey, excuse me, Bradley Cooper, like the men that are getting the eye lifts. It was actually Heather Dubrow's husband, who's a very high profile plastic surgeon. He said it's because what they're doing to their eyes is really a feminine procedure, because it makes their eyes look more open, but then it makes them look more like a woman. It makes them look more. So, I mean, it's so crazy that we've been fortunate that we've found opportunities to like enhance our skin without changing how we look, because we still want people to say like, aren't you that old broad who used to be on the news?
Yeah. and I will say, yeah, it is. The Sculptra and no alcohol has changed my life. It's changed my skin. Like my skin is I'm grateful for that. So I don't know. I mean, and it's like that. When I remember when Liz first got that several years ago, I don't know anything about that. Like I'm just like, I don't know, inject my face. Cool. Like is it gonna make me look
younger? You trust somebody who's that talented. So
Sculptra.
Okay, couple of things. Danielle Hendershot Myers said Whitney is the best. Back to your stylist. And then Jen, and then Liz, wait, there's one other comment I wanted to read. Oh, our friend Jenny, she said, this is back to you, forgetting why you walked in a room. Pro tip, start loudly announcing as you have the thought. That way everyone knows why you are doing what you're doing. So right when you walk in, you say, now I'm here because
I'm to get a slice of watermelon.
Because it'll be so fleeting that we'll, and then we'll forget what we're doing. So Danielle said Liz and team is the best. So shout out to Liz. And she just completed a new degree. She was conferred with, I saw her wearing her regalia.
Mental
so
health.
Congratulations on
she
your
does
degree.
All the things.
Now the other procedure that I've heard talked a lot about is that vampire facial. I think you've had that.
Yeah. Not a fan.
Okay.
I think that it's
did it do
I don't even think they do that. I don't think they do that there. Okay, so I think that
someone told me the other day they were getting a vampire facial, and for some reason I thought of you.
Thank you. I did have it done somewhere else before.
Have that done?
And they take your own blood and they
That's why they call it vampire facial.
They take your own blood out.
That sounds like a bridge too far for me.
I think it's more for social media, like, because I think Kim Kardashian did it years ago, where it puts your own blood back into.
Oh, it's my financial advisor's wife who's having it done, and so that tells you how much money he's making off of investments.
Yeah, no, I think I think you just have to do your research and figure out what's trendy and what's just for social media. And I'm not knocking any place that does it.
There's a lot of people that have definitely benefited from what used to only be reserved for the likes of like Beverly Hills and New York, right? It's nice that some of this has come to Eastern Iowa. So looking here, I should probably go in and get some touch up. I usually go, once every 8 months, maybe, that I'll get a little Botox. So I feel like maybe I need to get back in there. I can't remember. The time flies, and I can't remember the last time I got a few.
It's like Dolly Parton said in Steel Magnolias. What time marches on, pretty soon you realize it's marching across your face. I just want to look.
Such a good line.
I want to look young and refreshed.
Yes, if you are having any issues, as we talked about with the child rearing, that can result in some issues that many women have with incontinence and other bladder issues, we have the treatment for you. And I have our notes here that we wanted to share. So the Urology Center of Iowa is focusing specifically on the urologic health needs of women. And so they have specialized care really shaped around how the woman's body, and as we age, is much different from men, right? So
of course it is.
Overactive bladder, incontinence, pelvic organ prolapse. They have all these treatments, neuromodulation, the Emsella chair, which Amanda is telling me is like doing hundreds of Kegels.
Yes.
Which, if you know, Kegels are those exercises they tell us to do to strengthen our pelvic floor. So I feel like we need to try this Imsella chair.
I would love to try it because I would love for my kids to stop making fun of me when I have to stop walking to cross my legs to sneeze. And especially when it's Lucci making fun of me. And I'm thinking your giant head and the fact that you were the size of the Buick is the reason that I will pee when I sneeze or cough, even a cough. Like I can't, if I'm sick, it is the worst because I will literally, I have a coughing attack and I have to go into the restroom and sit on the toilet just in case, because otherwise.
Yeah, I think that's very common. I mean, so many women.
Why does nothing happen to the men? Why do men just get to live? Like they get to live. We go from one thing to the next. True. We go from getting our periods and having horrible cramps and then having pregnant, being blessed by being pregnant, but then having a baby. And then right from there, we go into perimenopause and menopause and hot flashes and XYZ and brain fog. And men literally get to wake up and just
exist. Yeah.
What's that like?
Well, I need to mention this Urology Center of Iowa. It's iowauro.com. iowauro.com is the website. And okay, speaking of the perimenopause, it's so interesting because in my experience, and some of you can relate to this, because now, and it's not a bad thing, it's more talked about, it's more public. I think now it's going to backfire somewhat on us because if you're a woman of a certain age, now anytime you're upset or assertive or have, an issue, I think that there's probably this underlying current of people going, oh, she's probably just going through menopause.
No, well,
you know what I mean?
Well,
I mean, not that that's not something we shouldn't discuss, but my point is, I think people expect you to have problems. So I went to get my physical yesterday and I was talking to my provider, wonderful woman who's actually our age. And she said to me, are you having this? Are you having this? And I said, no. I said, gratefully right now, I have no symptoms of perimenopause other than my periods are spaced out. And they used to be like clockwork every month. Now they're every 2 months. And so I said, that's the only change. And then she said, well, there's so many people dealing with this and they're doing HRT and they're doing, and I just said, I'm right now good. Like I truly do not have any other symptoms. And so then I said, is that uncommon for somebody my age? And she said, yes. And so that's what was interesting is then it made me realize that like we are at that stage where almost every woman is having some symptom that's probably tied to perimenopause.
Yeah, but I don't really give a damn. Can I say that? If someone's gonna say, because I've been labeled my whole life, like, oh, like think about when we were like, well,
but I'm just saying it's just one more way that people can say that she's unhinged.
Yeah, so you better try Jesus before you try me then, because I'm going through something. Because think about when we were teenagers and like the teenage boys thought they were funny.
Oh yeah, are you on the rag?
Are you on your you must be on your
Did you guys call it that in Philadelphia or in Pennsylvania? Did you say on the
Philly,
rag?
No, we didn't say on the rag. Like we just no. I don't even know what we said back home while we were eating our soft pretzel from the street and some water ice. Which I was laughing when like your friend had said, like, it doesn't sound like Philadelphia because I say water. And I'm like, that couldn't be more Philadelphian. Ask anybody from Philly who's in here right now, spell water for me and spell water ice. What is water ice? Because I'm having a July 4th pool party, and it's a Philadelphia because it's 250 years. And where was this country founded? In the greatest city of all, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, right? So we are having all of the Philadelphia specials, water ice, soft pretzels, cheesesteaks. And someone said, oh, you're having Philly cheesesteaks. No one in Philadelphia calls them Philly cheesesteaks. We call them cheesesteaks. And we're also having some pierogi, Pennsylvania staple. So anyway, but I was laughing when I was thinking about that. I was like, yeah, it's water. Like we all say water.
So the friend we speak of, Gina, she will be here visiting
Yes.
Iowa next week. She's going to be a guest on our show, and she will be joining us in Marengo at Fireside Winery. So if you are so inclined and have the time and the dime, next Wednesday, we'd love for you. I'm so clever. Next Wednesday, or this upcoming Wednesday, we're going to be at Fireside Winery for a show starting at 6, and we would love to see you there. So go to our website if you're interested, faithandfourletterwords.com, and you can buy tickets. And then the following week, we're going to be back in the world of the Grumps, which we love in Reedland, Iowa, where they crown somebody the town Grump annually.
It's not there.
Oh gosh.
No, it's not there. It's in Reedland. It's at the
No,
old.
no, I know it's not at
Oh,
Grumpy's.
I
I'm just
see.
saying they have a
Oh,
town
yeah.
grump every year.
Oh, the town. They still have that after.
Yeah,
okay, they
yeah,
still have it
call,
after
They
that.
call it the annual town grump. It's part of their festival.
That's
so
fantastic.
yeah, so tell us where in Reedland
I'm
we
looking.
can go for our show.
My
And then
Wi-Fi
the following
is slow.
week, Monticello, with our friend Whitney Hall bringing us back. So if you are bored and want to come hang out and laugh with us and maybe even cry, we have a good time at our in-person shows from 6 to 8 p.m. on Wednesday. So coming up is Marengo, and Gina is going to be comparing notes with you from your East Coast experience.
My
Where is it? What's the address?
I'm still looking.
sorry.
209 Main Street.
209 Main
In
Street
Reedland.
in Reedland is where we will be on Wednesday, June.
My internet is not
Wednesday,
working.
June 17th. We will be in Reedland, and then Wednesday the 24th in Monticello. But this upcoming Wednesday the 10th is when we're going to be at Fireside Winery. Thanks to I said this Monday to the folks at Fireside Winery. Yeah, that's probably what. Okay, now we're back. We had to move that Marengo show to Wednesday of next week because of that unfortunate accident I had in April. So thanks to everybody who was flexible and willing to switch the tickets, to June. So we'd love to have newbies join us as well.
Right. Sorry, I got a messenger kids phone call from Aria. So I was just like, "What's wrong?"
Okay?
That's what I'm asking her.
Okay.
I'm on my show, and she's probably gonna write back, "What show?"
Oh, she did a voice.
Yeah, she did. Hold on. I'm just gonna.
Okay.
Oh, no, you do not.
That
Sorry.
was so cute. She was like whispering on a voice memo. Isn't it crazy when no one could have predicted, right, that in 2026 our 8-year-olds would be sending us voice memos, because back
She's so
then,
savvy.
Yeah, because back when we were 8, there was no such thing as voice memos. There was an answering machine that eventually came into our lives.
Listen, we were very, very savvy. Think about when we didn't have a quarter and we had to call home and you used to pay for the collect, and they were like, "You have a collect call from, I'm done, come pick me up."
Yeah, it was like we were in prison and we had to have, the person say, "Will you accept a collect call from Tara?
Come pick me up."
And my friend Gina always remembers in college that my dad would be like, "Who? No way, I don't know her." Or he would like completely go off on the person, saying that he doesn't want that person to ever call him again. I mean, he would say the most hilarious things, and they would record your voice. Remember, this is how old we are. They would record our voice, and then you would hear the operator say, "You have a collect call from," and then it would be me going, "It's me, Dad, come get me." And I would say, because we would call from our school payphone when practice was over. For our parents to come and pick us up. Those were the days.
I was thinking of like how many times I've called my parents to come pick me up, my dad specifically from the movie theater. But I also remember I was 16 years old and I was going on a date. I was working my summertime job. So I met somebody who was 19.
Oh gosh.
So you think about it, like, yeah, it's kind of gross, right? Like, so this person was in college. I think I was 7. I'm sorry, I was 17. So this guy was like 19. And I was going to the movie theater with him, and I got permission, and my dad knew him.
Remember which movie?
I don't remember what movie, but this is what I remember. I was sitting in the movie theater, and I hear this, Mandy, and I was like, what? And I turn around, and my brother, who is like 14 at the time, is in like going like this. He's like 2, and my dad is sitting there. My dad took my brother, and my dad was like just grilling the guy in the back of the head. Followed us. God.
And that's now what you're doing to girls talking to Nico.
I'm completely doing that. Speaking of that, so yesterday my husband was like he was like, Nico's got to start cleaning his room, and he was like, he's getting at that age because he's at, we're all into cologne and all the stuff, and so we're at the soccer game and during the rain delay, and he was like, if he wants to have girls over watching a movie, he's got to clean his room, and I was like, there will be no girl in his room watching a movie. He's like, well, I don't have a problem with it. I'm like the double standard is insane. I'm like, let some chick try to come in my son's room.
Right. Like he wouldn't want Gia doing that.
Like
but now it's okay because
I will
be,
son. You will hear the theme from Halloween, and I will be standing in the doorway like Michael Myers at like that girl. Like Godspeed, Hunger Games salute. Good luck if you are in my son's room. Could you imagine? No. I mean, I'm getting mad at thinking of it. I'm not. Can you imagine if it was Gia? If he walked downstairs and saw Gia and her boyfriend in her room?
We're going through interesting times with our sons, right? And it is crazy how you still picture your baby boy as a child. And yet now they're young men and they shave and they have all the products.
Listen, my mom always said, my mom had told me it. She's like, a daughter is a daughter for life. A son's a son until he takes a wife.
Mm-hmm.
No. No, like that is why.
Oh my gosh!
Like Gia makes fun of me.
The poor
She's
girl
like,
who ends up dating Nico.
She says Gia's like anything that he does. Like Nico walks in the room and it's like, ah, and I was like,
true.
It's my son. It's my son.
So yeah, that's when Charlotte was home for 9 days. Thomas was back to having 2 moms because he is also mothered by Charlotte, and it's so funny. They're 2 years apart. But you would think they were like 20 years apart because Charlotte talks to him and tries to tell him what to do, much like a mother, and then faults my husband and I if we're not as hard on him as we should be. She's very critical of our parenting. That's very critical of our parenting with him. And so we remind her that we did a lot for her as well when she was still in the nest.
That's what they forget.
Right. Like, she claims that there were a lot of things she did on her own that we're doing for him. And that's partly true because guys are so scatterbrained compared to girls, unfortunately, that there are things that are being misplaced and forgotten. And I don't remember Charlotte having quite the same problem.
I think my husband, and I say this with all the love, and like Hector has to be reminded from things.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, just because men will focus on the task at hand, women, we
multitask. Now my husband has a theory on that. Cause I always say, well, so-and-so said that their husband this, or I'm doing this, and then he said this, he said, if you guys didn't help us so much, we would figure it out, but we know you're going to help us. And they crutch, that's sort of a crutch that we've created in some ways.
Listen, I don't know. I think that my husband grew up very
entitled.
Yeah. He had a lot of people doing a lot of things for him. Like when so, but he does do his own laundry.
But only his laundry.
Only
which
his.
Is so funny. I mean, I think he can throw a few other items in.
He will do everything he will do anything I ask. He's not like anything.
Right.
But this is the thing that I try to explain to him. You still need a list. And I think a lot of women say that, like their husband or their boyfriends do so much for them, but it's the list. And when will men understand that it's the list that is still mentally exhausting for us? Like we still have to make a list. So we had our, the other day, they came to fix the pool. They were like, yada, yada. And I said, he's like, he had to drain it halfway and we have to fill it up tomorrow. And so I wake up in the morning and I'm like, the pool's overflowing. And he's like, oh. I said, did he tell you that he would turn the water on last night? He's like, well, no. I'm like, do we pay attention to when people are talking? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's
the pool was overflowing.
It was overflowing because we left the water on all night.
Oh my gosh.
All night long. Lionel Richie. What is 7:58? I think I have to find my empowering word of the day. I'm going to find a good one today. We needed an empowering 4-letter word. I really want the big F word to be the empowering word because of this week. Let me see. Let me look into let me bring up my Rolodex. Remember the Rolodex or the Filofax?
The Rolodex, yes. Classic office supply.
Let me do rise.
Okay,
I'm going to do rise. Whatever, we are all going to get up and we are all going to continue to be the bad A women that we are. So whatever struggle you're going through today, or whether it's just you don't want to get through today, just get up, let's rise, and let's just go battle it together. And you just know that you have like two chicks here that are walking shoulder to shoulder with you.
We too have a lot of beautiful chaos going on, and we can relate to whatever yours might be. Matthew Chapter 5, verse 4 reminds us, God blesses those who mourn, for they will be comforted. So if you're going through a loss, if you have felt that void, that loneliness that creeps in, just know that God is there to comfort you. And we as Christians are called to serve those less fortunate and to look after the widows. And that's been our charge and our mission with Faith and 4-Letter Words. So grateful to have many widows in our tribe of all ages. And we often think of you as I think of my mom, because she has said many times that, it's just different, but the grief never goes away.
Right.
You just learn to adjust your life accordingly, like we've had to do in so many situations.
Just them sails. Get up and rise. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday.
Thank you for watching the group chat. The show is brought to you by the empowering staff at Urology Center of Iowa, Canoyer Gardens, Azalea Lane Boutique, and Splendor the Medical Spa.